It's the Real Estate Podcast, brought to you by ANZ Home Loans for financial well-beings.
There is opportunities. If you've got a good broker and you've got a good credit history, then there are ways and means. The reality of it is, for young people, living in the city is a pipe dream. They're only going to be able to rent there. When I was young, buying my first home, I paid $50,000 for it. You can't even buy a house with a deposit of $50,000.
And that is Anne Webber, and she is in the suburb. I'll tell you about where she is in just a moment, in Greater Brisbane, as we welcome you back to the Real Estate Breakfast right around Australia. We're doing this 7 days a week and talking your property news and information from Ballarat to Bundaberg. It is a Monday morning back from the weekend, 22nd of September. It feels like we've just got into September and we're heading out of it again. And good morning to you, Rob in Geelong. Thank you for your email. You say that you're in your 30s. You've been listening to our podcast, you say, for a while. And while you look for the positives in what we're talking about, you find that more often than not, you just become more disillusioned because of the cost of living, the crap wages, you say, not keeping up with the struggle to save, and that deposit is getting further and further away from you to buy an apartment. And then this is the sad piece. You say you are tapping out, going and joining a friend in Vietnam to chill, live it, and forget the BS. Well, you're not alone, Rob, are you, with that thinking? Many have done exactly that, left the country and have decided to live their life. But Rob, I want you to report in for us from Vietnam after 3 months so that we can update everyone in terms of what is happening. You kind of feel it when you get these emails. And if you've got something going on in a similar vein to Rob, you can leave these voice messages now. You'll find the link to that below in the show notes. Or, of course, you can email us, and the email address is myrealestatepodcast@gmail.com. And I guess to highlight Rob's concerns, Australia's housing affordability crisis has deepened, with only 73 suburbs across capital cities still offering median house prices under $600,000. PropTrack reported that just a year ago there were 160 suburbs on that list, but soaring prices in Adelaide, Perth and Brisbane have slashed affordable options, with the median capital city house price now at just over $1.95 million, well above the average home loan of $678,000. First home buyers are being pushed to these city fringe, if not to Vietnam. As we right now catch up with Anne Webber from Macleay Island, and Macleay Island is part of the Greater Brisbane area, and it is part two of the islands in this area. On Saturday, we were talking to Kat, and she was on Russell Island. And yeah, Rob's email there, no doubt you're probably finding that experience locally where you are, where some of the younger people trying to save for a deposit, kind of giving up on Australia at the same time.
That's absolutely correct. And we're seeing here on Macleay Island, which is a suburb of Redland Bay, we're 18 minutes by Fast Cat passenger ferry and about 40 minutes on a vehicle ferry. From there, we're 45 minutes from Brisbane CBD and the airport. So people, young folks who are looking to get into the market, now have a choice to either go way out west or they could come to an area like ours. For some people, they will find that there is a little bit of inconvenience involved with it, but the fact that they can actually afford to live and put a roof over their head is an inviting option. Now, if you'd asked me 5 years ago what the population was, I would have just said everybody's a retiree, no young folks are coming. Since COVID, we have had an absolute change in demographic, and there are more and more young people coming to the Southern Moreton Bay Islands, particularly Macleay Island. They're raising their children here away from shopping malls and all of the things that you want to keep kids away from these days. We don't have a great crime rate. You see kids with fishing poles. We don't have any of the major things that you see on the mainland. We're like a little country town surrounded by water, and we're affordable.
So just coming back to Rob there, what about some of the younger people in your region? You know, some of these younger ones trying to save for their deposit. Talk about the frustration to us this morning, like some of those stories that you're hearing. You might have gone out, started showing properties. This might have been, at the start of the year before we had the rate cuts, and they sort of discovered, can't quite really afford that. This is the frustration, I think.
It is absolutely a frustration. We're seeing here on the island that only the major banks will loan to the Southern Moreton Bay Islands, and that apparently is because we don't have a bridge. For a younger person to buy a house here, they need a 20% deposit. So imagine if the houses here were, an average house was $900,000. That's a huge deposit for anybody to save. We are seeing some mortgage brokers being able to get folks in on less than 20% with the assistance from the government. It's across the board. Even though we are an affordable suburb, the level of deposit required is pushing younger folks out of the market completely.
In Brisbane, this report throws up affordable options have almost vanished. There are just 5 suburbs recorded with a median house price of under $600,000. You were saying the median there at the moment is around $520,000. I mean, that is, in today's market, extremely affordable, and the fact that you're so close to Brisbane, yet the bank is saying you ain't got a bridge.
Exactly. So we're finding, though, that because we're affordable, younger people are able to save that deposit. They can also get into lesser properties. We still have properties in the 400,000s, and that gives them a step into the market. There is opportunities. If you've got a good broker and you've got a good credit history, then there are ways and means. The reality of it is, for young people, living in the city is a pipe dream. They're only going to be able to rent there. When I was young, buying my first home, I paid $50,000 for it. You can't even buy a house with a deposit of $50,000.
This is exactly why Rob has decided, you know what? Sitting on the beach in Vietnam, I think, looks a whole lot more attractive than trying to save this wretched deposit. All right, when we come back, we'll continue the conversation with Anne Webber.
Stay ahead of the competition with the latest news, insights and data analysis on the property podcast that keeps you informed. Remember to follow us on any of the podcast platforms so you never miss a real estate podcast. You can follow us on Apple, Spotify and Amazon. Know your property with us.
And it is a Real Estate Monday. We're talking about the frustration, if that is you this morning, trying to save for the deposit. And then, of course, you've got to illustrate that you can keep those payments going with the bank. Anne Webber is with us. She is on Macleay Island, doesn't have a bridge, but it does have a median price of around $520,000. That is a house. Just describe that house for us. What does that get you for $520,000 on your Macleay Island?
I have 2 properties available at the moment, one at $528,000, near new 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom home, open plan living. It's on a huge 1,012 square metres of land, and that's $528,000. At $548,000, we have a 2-bed, 2-bath, which was moved to Macleay Island about 3 years ago. It's a nice little cottage. It also sits on about 600 square metres. So there are great homes to be had. You just have to come and live on Macleay.
Gee, and you've seen it all too, haven't you? Because you've been involved in real estate for 23 years. You were telling me off air that you used to have a gaggle of agents working for you. You had the payroll and so forth. Then you decided to change it up a little bit and just condense that down, all the way down to just you and a PA. Is that right?
That's correct. Some years ago, I had an office in Ipswich with, all the bells and whistles, multiple staff, all of the traditional things that come with running a real estate office. We left Ipswich and we've been on Mackay now for 8 years, and I've worked with agencies on the island and decided to work for myself again. And in discussion with my accountant, we were trying to come up with a plan that would still give me the financial security, but just doing it myself. So we pared everything back. So there is just myself, and I have a PA who is fully registered so that she can do all of the things that I do if necessary, but she's also a fantastic bookkeeper. So she does all of that side of the business and backs me up. Now, in paring all that back, my profitability is better than it was when I had a full-on real estate office. If there are budding real estate agents out there and you've got a full license and you're really not sure what you can do, you can do it on your own. You just have to make sure that you have what we call a farm area, that you are positive that you can get the listings. It's an incredible change. And if you'd asked me 3 years ago, did I expect it to be as successful as it is? No. With myself and my PA, we're averaging $35 million in written contracts per year.
You're killing it, Anne. You're killing it. And, you know, the natural progression, this is the thinking, I think, for a lot of top agents. You know, they are number one in their market. And the natural progression, good or bad, is, hey, let's get our own franchise, let's employ people, and let's get bigger than just me. That doesn't always equate, of course, to a great business decision. They are number one because they have the killer instinct, not necessarily able to handle, you know, a bunch of people, because that is a whole different skill to being number one in selling real estate.
The thing is with real estate offices, you believe that the more people you have, the more listings you will have and the more money you will make. And that's not entirely true. Unless you are a well-known agent, they're not going to just come to you. They will go to a business name. Though you may be an LJ Hooker, you may be a Bell Real Estate, Ray White. They'll go to Ray White. They're not going to Ray White because Bob Smith is the principal and he's great. They're just going to Ray White because it says Ray White. And then they've got 30 people that they can choose from. Your business is being watered down. If you were just like me, Macleay Island Real Estate, they're coming to Macleay Island Real Estate. The only person they can deal with is me. I'm not sharing what I earn with anybody. My overheads are cut back to next to nothing. I have everything that every other agency has, but I don't have to share what I earn with a franchise or with the person I work for.
And one of the best things, you know, where you're located, this sounds great. You're located in a coffee shop, is that right?
I am. I have a 5x5 office. I find that I have people, and I have a window like everybody else. So people who are in the coffee shop are looking in the window to see what's going on. We spend a lot of time chatting to people about the island, giving them ideas of what it can be like, what are the positives and the negatives. And it's incredible how many people have just come over for the day to go to the bowls club and have lunch or go to the coffee shop and have a look around, that we end up putting in the car and taking them to multiple properties. And sometimes we even sell them a home.
All right, sounds good. Now, if anybody out there knows how to build a bridge, get in touch with Anne. She's the person.
No, we do not want a bridge. We do not want a bridge.
Oh, you don't want a bridge. Okay, so scrub that idea. And great to talk to you on a Monday. Enjoy the upcoming week. And thanks for coming on to the Real Estate Breakfast this morning.
Thanks so much for having me.
From first-time homebuyers to seasoned investors to breaking property news, discover the stories behind the real estate.
I offered $2 million when the quote was 1.75 to 1.85, unconditionally, 30-day settlement. I was shut down quicker than a child could throw his salad sandwich away at lunchtime. They knew damn well they were going to fly past $2 million.
Really, the growth started happening from 20, 21, 22 to the point where we are now, where it's sort of like just under $1 million according to the project results.
It is now the number one search term. So normally the number one search term is actually pool, but pool has been knocked off of that top spot and it's now been taken by granny flat.
I started with nothing. I've now managed 36 staff members, 3 offices. But yes, I am excited to get out of the selling and listing side and get agents to the next level and get them selling.
Yeah, the latest figures for Gingin was the Gingin town was $675, the median house price, which is considerably lower than the metro area.
We connect you to the best real estate information across Australia. The Real Estate Podcast.